It's okay to not know a lot about stuff. I'm good at this. I could probably do makeup.
Oh. Okay. Okay. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Wilder Show podcast. I'm Scott. That's Lauren.
Hello.
How are you today, Lauren?
I'm okay. How are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Welcome, by the way, to all those who were listening to the Mark Davis Show. Filled in for Mark Davis today. So if you missed it, I guess that's archived somewhere. But otherwise, you know, the Wilder Show podcast, every single Tuesday and Friday, 6 a.m. Central Time, wherever you get your podcasts. So Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube. So welcome if you're finding us for the very first time. There are 150 other episodes for you to catch up. I can't imagine. You can also find us on Instagram. Search Wilder Show Pod, and then you follow and all that. If you want to email us, the email is podcast@wildershow.com. Already mentioned when you can find the Wilder Show podcast, Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time or before. And do engage us. Leave comments, thumbs up or thumbs down, or thumbs up. Thumbs up is nice. Your comments are good. So like, rate, follow, subscribe, share, and welcome to you if you are brand new. We have a small but curiously strong, it's sort of like the Altoids.
Exactly like the Altoids, actually.
Small but curiously strong gathering here twice a week. And it's fun to fill in for Mark.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
I love the live thing. I think about the 60 Minutes kerfuffle that has happened this last week. It's an old story, though, really.
Yeah.
I went back last night and I rewatched The Insider.
Oh, great movie.
Great movie with Al Pacino, Russell Crowe, the Scott Wilder Show's own Christopher Plummer.
That's right.
We claim everyone who had anything to do with our show.
If they were on the show for 15 minutes,
Yeah.
which he was at least 15 minutes.
It was a long thing.
It was by phone, but it was quite
It was great.
exciting.
Oh,
yeah.
It was great. Anyway, reminds me of the only time I've ever sung karaoke. I'm sure I've told that story before.
Yeah.
The only time I've ever sung karaoke.
Oh, I know why it reminds you of that.
we were stuck in China after 9/11. So it'd been in North Korea when 9/11 happened, came back into China on 9/13. That's a whole separate story and show. But came back into China. Then we were stuck in China, in Beijing, and we couldn't get out of the country for, I don't know, days and days and days. And part of what we did while we were there, they had a bowling alley in the basement of this hotel.
Oh, wow.
And so we would go bowling. And then there was the other half of the basement of the hotel was rooms where you could do karaoke. The only time in my life I've ever sung karaoke. The number one song in Asia for karaoke is, what do you think it is?
The number one song?
Number one song.
Well, you mean what was the number one song 25 years ago?
Yeah, I guess so, because some of it probably has to do with rights and all that, although in China, they don't care. They don't care about copyright and all that kind of stuff in China. But the number one song, everyone there, Chinese people who didn't speak a lick of English, they loved to sing, guess what song?
Was it the song you sang?
No.
I Will Survive. I don't know.
Dancing Queen.
Really?
I was Dancing Queen.
Yeah, I should have guessed that.
Yeah, I didn't do Dancing Queen. I did do Edelweiss, though.
Yeah, I remember.
And so I'm prompted to think of Edelweiss and my only foray into karaoke.
So let me ask you a question.
Because of my mention of Christopher Plummer.
I don't remember this, but I know we talked to Christopher Plummer on the Scott Wilder Show years after you did Edelweiss as a karaoke. Did you mention that to him?
That's a good question.
In your
little interview?
In your interview?
I probably didn't. I'm probably too embarrassed. But, today, as an older, more comfortable person, I might ask him to do a duet with me.
Yeah.
So
that's quite the level of comfort.
I didn't say I was right. I just said I was comfortable.
Yeah.
Often wrong, but never in doubt. Okay, let's dive into what happened at 60 Minutes. I'm not going to use all the language that was used, but man, Scott Pelley did go off on all the bosses. I mean, all the bosses. Just to review, Barry Weiss was put in charge of all of CBS News. Barry Weiss, according to Scott Pelley and a bunch of other people, totally unqualified to do the job she's been hired to do. I don't get bogged down in the whole thing, but Donald Trump had sued 60 Minutes for $16 million because of an editing thing in the Kamala Harris interview. Anyway, CBS was up on the block about to get bought by Paramount. Well, that purchase had to get okayed by regulators. The regulators are people that are in place working at the behest of, and some would say the direction of, Donald Trump. And so they have to make nice about all this. And 60 Minutes settled that case. And everybody in the journalism business went crazy.
Right.
Said, you're capitulating, you're kowtowing. It's all about business. This is the wrong thing to do. Fast forward to a couple of weeks ago, Barry Weiss names the new executive producer of 60 Minutes. So the brand new boss, the new Don Hewitt. Don Hewitt was the one that began it all. And it was Don Hewitt, and I think at the very beginning it was only Mike Wallace and Harry Reasoner at the very, very beginning. And then the others, Leslie Stahl and others, came and joined later. So the new Don Hewitt has been hired. Now, this is a guy who has never worked in TV news. Never.
So what would his qualifications be?
He, according to the people that have been so critical of it, he's Barry Weiss's boy.
Okay.
He's Barry Weiss's puppet.
So he'll be a yes man for her.
Absolutely. So it's caused all kinds of problems. Well, last week they fired 2 longtime correspondents and a longtime producer. So they're clearing house. They've had several rounds of firings, and it has boiled over. So they have this meeting introducing the brand new executive producer. Scott Pelley is unleashed.
Yeah.
He says he says in front of everyone, says it out loud, Barry Weiss is absolutely unqualified to have the position that she has. You are barely qualified to hold the position that you hold. He says to this guy, his new boss, executive producer, you will never be welcomed here. And it
Strong words.
And it goes on. I mean, it's huge. It goes on and on and on. Obviously, it's a fireable offense. You just can't really do that.
He had to know that, right?
I think he did. I think he was, the question was, are you going to go out telling the truth, or are you going to go out, just slinking out of the lobby? And he went out telling the truth, and he was fired.
So you mean the writing was on the wall that he would have been fired either way?
Oh, I think the
because
writing.
Of the house cleaning that was happening?
Yeah. I mean, what he said in that meeting was Barry Weiss was hired to murder 60 Minutes. Yeah. And that is exactly what she's doing. And then he went on. So he's gone.
Yeah.
And it just reminded me of that great scene in The Insider. If you haven't seen The Insider, it's a great story. It's the whole tobacco story. The whole story about 60 Minutes had a story about tobacco and the people that were in charge of Brown and Williamson and Philip Morris and all these that had testified before Congress. That no, I do not believe nicotine is addictive. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, they're spiking the addictive nature of nicotine in their cigarettes. And the famous quote from that interview was the insider, the whistleblower, says to Mike Wallace, "We knew what we were doing. Cigarettes are a nicotine delivery system." Which is funny to say to Mike Wallace, who not so long ago would smoke while he was doing interviews.
That's right.
Big smoker. Anyway, it's a great movie if you haven't seen it. But it brings up an old thing, and I think about that having been on for Mark Davis today and to have the chance to do podcasts too. And I think when Mark's finding this, that when you do podcast stuff, you do have a freedom that doesn't come with what you do on the radio. And we could talk about this now because we're not beholden to anybody. The big argument forever is who gets to decide what you talk about on the radio.
Yeah.
I mean, there are lines you can cross, but who's really going to decide? And we had those fights. I had those fights with people above me who would say, hey, I don't like when you do this, or I don't like when you do that. And I always felt like, but do you like, the $100,000, $130,000 we raised over the last 2 weeks for that client that ended up paying the radio station $100,000? Sort of, did you like that part?
Yeah.
Because if you change this other stuff, If you kill my demons, you kill my angels.
And it wasn't even really demons.
No.
It was things that were a matter of taste.
It's just a lot of bosses, especially people who don't know what they're doing. They like to put their fingerprints on stuff. They like to come in. That's what Barry Weiss has done. Come in and put their fingerprints on stuff. This is what happens when you have people that don't know what they're doing, deciding what the content should be. One of the things, and I won't detail what it was that we did on the radio, was a feature that we did on a regular basis. And some manager, my sense was, his wife, who listened, didn't really care for that one feature. This was something that, he would say, hey, what do you think about that show? Or what do you think about this? And she said, I don't really care for this certain thing. And then he would come to us and say, hey, I really don't think you should do that anymore.
And I think if that had been a person who had a radio background,
totally,
who had risen through the ranks
Absolutely.
of great radio stations and had a lot of experience, maybe even some experience, if not doing what you were doing, maybe even experience having managed people who do what you do successfully.
Yep.
But when somebody comes into any business, I'm sure this is not even just exclusive to what we did on the radio. It's people in any business. Mm-hmm. When somebody comes in to manage because they've been a good manager at other places, in other fields, it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be a good manager of people doing what you're doing if they don't have any experience with that product or that experience or whatever it is that you're working hard to create.
We both were blessed to have worked for Ron Chapman.
Yeah.
There's not a single thing Ron Chapman could tell me to do that I would not do.
Yeah.
Not a single thing. I was wrong and he was Ron. I mean, that's it. Yeah. So if he told me to do it, that's what I did. If he said it, it was right. Not just to borrow a phrase, Ron said it, I believed it, that settled it.
Yeah.
I mean, that really was the way it was there. Mm-hmm. He was sort of a lowercase g God at that place. but really it was like that. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about salespeople.
Yeah.
We're talking about people who are really good at what they do. And I've said before, I would never run into a sales presentation and look up at the screen and say, really, you're using bar graphs? What about the pie chart? What?
Yeah.
I would never. You do what you do. We'll do what we do. And if we both do our job, it's going to go fine. Mm-hmm. But I'm not qualified to do what you do. And except for breaking some rule or the FCC or some law or some regulation, it's a matter of taste. And if you manage an art gallery, the people who make frames shouldn't be telling the people who paint what they should paint. The people who make frames and who decide that a certain paint color is on sale, so we're going to buy lots of that paint color, but then you want a sunset, but all you bought was the brown paint because the brown paint is on sale. Those people are not qualified to do it. Anyway,
I think especially if the painter in this case has a track record of success, being really good at creating things to fill those frames.
So that's sort of the heart of the CBS thing. Is who's going to get to decide. For them, it's not just entertainment. They say it's journalism. And the weirdest thing about this is that a lot of people are trying to say that this has to do with Trump and CBS is doing the bidding of Donald Trump. I don't think that's the full picture.
No,
I don't. I don't think Barry Weiss was brought in to make sure that Donald Trump is happy. I don't think the new executive producer was brought in to make sure that Donald Trump is happy over the next 2 years. Whatever changes are going to make at Warner Brothers Discovery, parent company that impacts CNN, which, by the way, if that deal comes through, then you're going to have Skydance in charge of Paramount and CBS and also going to be in charge of all the CNN stuff. So you're going to have massive decision-making about what is and is not news and who gets to decide that. That's not done for Donald Trump. Donald Trump will be gone at the very latest in 2 years. He will no longer be president in 2 years. But the impact they're going to make is far beyond just the impact of Donald Trump. So I think Donald Trump's interests and other interests, perhaps not even interests that are of our nation, coincide for the moment. And the way it's being sold is they're just trying to please Donald Trump. I don't think so. Mm-hmm. I think it's much bigger than that. And I do have some concern about who gets to decide what is news, what gets found when you search. When you search something, that algorithm decides what gets put before you. It would be thinking of this way. It's like deciding who gets to decide what books are in the library, who gets to decide what lessons get taught in school. You can't have every book in the library. They say, well, if you search something, you'd certainly find it. Maybe not. If you search Carmelo Anthony right now, there's another Carmelo Anthony. Mm-hmm. There's a basketball player, Carmelo Anthony. You're not necessarily going to get the guy who's going to be on trial. You're going to get and who decides that? What is the algorithm that decides it? And who controls that? Who controls the algorithm for TikTok? Who owns TikTok? All the searches in this country. Who's fed whatever they're fed? Who decides what people are fed when they search one thing or the other? So I think it's easy to dismiss this and say CBS is kowtowing to President Trump. And when CNN is going through this, CNN is trying to kowtow to Donald Trump. It's easy to say that because he gets mad at Colbert. He goes after CBS and says, hey, if you really want this deal done, Colbert should be gone. And Colbert's gone. Yeah, that's true, but I don't think it has to do with Donald Trump primarily. It's bigger than that. I know it sounds conspiratorial, but I believe time will, in the great words of Dr. Michael Burry, I'm not wrong. I may be early, but I'm not wrong. Speaking of the president's name on everything. Can I just say, I don't like his name on everything.
I don't either.
I don't like his name on everything. I don't like his picture on everything. Look, if you have a golf club, put your name on it. If you own a resort, put your name on it. If you own a hotel, put your name on it. But the Kennedy Center, I never thought it was a good idea. It does take an act of Congress to rename that. But he slapped his name on that thing, and then it's being chiseled off.
Yeah.
But and at the end of the day, what did he say? Okay, we give. It was about being a disruptor. It wasn't really about doing any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm against the arch. The big arch that they're going to put in.
Where?
Oh, in D.C. Okay, look it up right now.
Is that another?
So even though the arch is not going to necessarily have his name, veterans are very upset. As you traverse right where that arch is supposed to go, mm-hmm. that arch will obscure your view of Arlington National Cemetery.
Oh, that's not good.
If you drive that way and you look, it is rolling hills of crosses mm-hmm. and Stars of David after another, mm-hmm. goes down a hill and back up a hill and down a hill and around. It's going to be obscured by that. I don't like all that stuff.
No.
And the $250 bill. This is the silliest thing.
Yeah.
You've seen that, right?
I have, yeah.
Okay, here's the story we're told. $250 bill. It's to celebrate 250 years of the country. Mm-hmm. So, let's put his face on. He's the president at the time. Let's put his face on a $250 bill. Well, first of all, there's a law. No living person's face is on currency. Uh-huh. And that came up because somebody back in 18-something, somebody at the treasury or somebody slapped their picture on a coin. Mm-hmm. Their own visage was on a coin, and they said, we're not doing that anymore. So you got to be unalived to be even considered.
Sure.
But then the silliest thing about it is they bring it up, a month before July 4th. Mm-hmm. Oh, we're going to release it to celebrate 250. You know how long the process takes to have a new picture on or a new denomination?
Well, I'm guessing it's longer than a month.
It's 6 to 7 years.
Yeah.
It's a very long time. You have design and security development. You have a whole process. They have to create the visual appearance of the note. It has to go through all manner of testing because you have something called the Bureau of Engraving and Printing. The U.S. Secret Service has to be involved. There has to be R&D, a security R&D. They have this thing called ACD. It's Advanced Counterfeit Deterrence. There has to be a steering committee. They evaluate security threats, little strips that are inside your bills.
You know what it reminds me of? It's too many notes.
Exactly.
Just take out a few notes.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
You're messing with stuff that you don't. It's not stuff that you can just tweak and recreate.
Right.
At at your whim.
It's not it's a Photoshop.
No,
you take a Photoshop image of yourself and place it on a bill. Anyway, that's all that takes place over like 6 years, and then you have the year number 7 is the ordering year. The Federal Reserve figures out what the need is for the new denomination. What's the public demand? What about inventory management? What about vault replacement? So then you have the official order. Then you have something else, the production, the actual printing. Takes months.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
All of the paper money in the United States is printed in only 2 places. Do you know where?
No.
Washington, D.C. and Fort Worth, Texas.
Oh, wow.
Do you know that? I think all $100 bills are actually printed in Fort Worth. I can't recall. Anyway, all this process is just the whole thing. So the bottom line is it's not going to happen.
Do you think that part of this is he thinks he has to get a lot of these things done while he's in charge because he believes he doesn't have a chance of it happening after he's not president anymore?
Honestly, just not to make people crazy, but I think he thinks all the things are his own. The parks department is his own. What would I like to put in my park? What would I like the fountain to look like? What would I like the reflecting pool to look like? I don't like that color blue. Let's change that color blue. What would I like? We need a ballroom. Let's have a ballroom next door. He thinks all those things are actually his own.
Yeah.
When you have the Department of Justice, who do you want investigated? Well, I want that person. Go get that person. That person was mean to me. Let's go get them. I mean, I think he sees all these things as his own, which of course they are not. And when you go back to the Kennedy Center, when push came to shove, he said, okay, just take it off. Wasn't that big a deal? It's all about just seeing what you can get away with, just doing all this stuff. I'm going to put my face outside the Department of Justice, big, huge hulking banner with the president glaring down at people as they walk by nervously. So it's not going to happen. The $250 bill is not going to happen. Now, some of these, like the Franklin Mint and all that, put all the coins you want to. You want to put out a commemorative coin or a challenge coin, that's great. Go do that. Nothing wrong with that. But we're talking about U.S. currency, which you could go and, backed by the Federal Reserve. I can go and I can spend it, which $250 would fill your tank.
That's the truth.
So maybe it's a good time to do it. Anyway, it's not going to happen. It shouldn't happen. All the bluster and blow was just, flooding the water with chum for people to fight over, maybe to distract, but it won't matter. There will be no U.S. currency with this picture on it. No Federal Reserve note introduced 30 days after it's been suggested. We'll have to get to Graham Plattner next time. The big primary, who's the guy, Pratt? Pratt is up against
Pratt.
Spencer Pratt is going to be in the runoff against Karen Bass. It's going to be interesting. We'll see what's going to happen there. I'm not really it's not that I'm a big Spencer Pratt fan, but something's got to be done out there.
Yeah.
Karen Bass should not be reelected. And if all you have left then is going to be Spencer Pratt, then I guess were I there, I might vote for Spencer Pratt. But next week, so that was this last Tuesday was, of course, the one in California and other places, the primary. And then next week, several of the states, but Maine is the big one. Maine is the main one. And there are a lot of tentacles that come with this. And Graham Plattner, and it involves Susan Collins, one of the most Democrat-friendly voting members really in either chamber, who happens to have an R behind her name. But we'll talk about that next time. Oh, it is the time for Scattershoot.
Let's go.
Wilder Show Scattershoot. All right.
You know what tarps off means?
Tarps off.
Have you heard of tarps off?
Is it like in the Karate Kid, wax on, wax off?
No.
Okay. What is it?
No, not even close.
Okay.
Actually, it's baseball related, though.
Tarps.
So I thought you might have heard about it.
Oh, okay. Wait, is this from what market is this?
St. Louis.
Ooh.
I know.
Devils.
I know. I almost didn't
Devils.
even want to talk about it.
All right. Tarps on, tarp. Does it have to do with
it's
obscuring?
Not tarps on, tarps off. It's just tarps off. Does it have to do with what?
Does it have to do with rain delays or obscuring the view from rooftops nearby?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
No. So they've, for a long time, Busch Stadium in St. Louis, they've liked to call it baseball heaven. Baseball heaven. We've talked about this before. The only thing I can remember about that, or the only thing I have associated with that, is hearing my now 33-year-old say, as like an 18-year-old, that's where my heart was broken. Because we have very specific bad memories of Busch Stadium, in 2011. But Tarps off, so it's sort of taking over. It's only the right field bleachers actually in the stadium, but it's enough of a deal that it was written up in The Athletic, I think, and that's where I found it. Any given game day starts early with a few shirtless guys. So your shirt is your tarp.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Who knew? I had no idea.
All right.
Usually young guys. By the end of the evening, though, it's full of zealous baseball fans. The majority of them shirtless, tarpless.
By the way, between the beginning and the end, sometimes people get a little more relaxed.
There's
little greasing of the skids.
Maybe just a little bit. Just a little bit. Now, if you're a woman, you don't have to take your tarp off. You might be wearing a shirt that looks like the hairy chest of a guy.
Oh, how funny.
So you can fit in. This all started last month when a couple of college baseball players there at Busch Stadium took off their shirts. The Cardinals were losing. They took off their shirts and they used them like rally towels, spun them around over their heads. And they thought this inspired a comeback win for the Cardinals. And a shout out from the manager. I mean, it was actually the manager, Oliver Marmol. Is that how you say his name? I don't know enough about him to know. It's Marmol. Oliver Marmol. He called them out, and he's the one who actually said he thought it inspired this comeback. It kind of got the crowd going.
Funny. Like a rally monkey or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. So the Cardinals organization now has embraced this idea, and sections 107 and 109 now are spaces where fans can let their freak flags, or at least their shirts, fly.
That's funny.
So it's a shot in the arm for St. Louis, where they've apparently stopped doing the attendance quiz that they used to do during the game because attendance has been embarrassingly low. 19th in the league. A lot of bad things, like couple of bad seasons for the Cardinals, and attendance has dropped. So there's a lot more to this, as you can imagine. Older fans are upset at the lack of dignity. You know, people who've grown up calling it, hearing their stadium referred to as baseball heaven. They don't really love the fact that this is what they're known for now. A lot of shirtless guys, out in the right field bleachers, kind of making a mockery of what they've come to believe is the Cardinals' way.
That's funny.
So tarps off might not be.
Tarps off?
Yeah, tarps off. Might not be for everybody, but they do give you fair warning. Before you enter the tarps off section, there's a sign that says, this area may not be suitable for guests seeking a traditional seated game experience.
Hey, I like that.
Yeah.
Now, could I hijack this for a second because you bring up baseball, and we just passed an anniversary. June 4th was a big anniversary.
What was that?
Well, I'll get that in a second.
It was my grandparents' wedding
anniversary.
Was
it really? Son of a gun. It was 1974, and it was the Texas Rangers baseball game. Something sort of preceded it. So on May 29th, at the old Arlington Stadium, so before the ballpark at Arlington, before Globe Life, the old Arlington Stadium, there are really two things.
Okay.
May 29th, 1974, tensions are boiling up at a game in Arlington, Texas, Cleveland and Texas Rangers, okay? So Cleveland in those days, Cleveland Indians and Texas Rangers. Rangers batter Lenny Randle drops a surprise bunt specifically to sprint down the first base line and tackle Indians pitcher Milt Wilcox, who had thrown a pitch behind him.
Okay.
So he was thrown at. Okay, so this sparks a huge bench-clearing brawl, heavily angered the Cleveland fans, set the stage for what was going to happen on June 4th. June 4th, just 6 days later, this rivalry reaches the boiling point in Cleveland. So at the Cleveland Stadium, it happened to be Dime Beer Night.
Oh, no.
I used to kid around and call it nickel beer and handgun night.
I remember liquor
and handgun night.
Yeah.
This was the ill-fated 10-cent beer night. The Indians offered 12-ounce cans of beer for just 10 cents each.
What a great idea.
Hold on, with no limit on how many a fan could buy. So $1, you get 10 beers. So it attracts 25,000 fans. Speaking of people getting a little more relaxed as you go through the game.
Yeah.
They drank an estimated 60,000 cups of beer.
My goodness.
Okay, so bottom of the ninth, a fan jumps onto the field, attacks Texas Ranger outfielder Jeff Burroughs, trying to steal his cap. Rangers manager at the time was Billy Martin.
Yeah.
He leads the team out of the dugout. They are all wielding bats to fight off the surging crowd. The game is over. It never ends. The Texas Rangers win the game 9-0, and that is the end of what could have been a really nice dime beer night tradition.
Sounds like just a great promotion to me. Just a real family-friendly
Isn't that terrible?
Baseball promotion.
What's funny is these are those days when I was a kid, and we would get in the back of a station wagon. We'd drive out to Arlington on the old turnpike.
I'll fly around the back of the station wagon.
Yeah. It was just, right. Nobody's belted. Nobody's done anything. Nobody's secure. We're just having a great time.
Dad's. Not your dad.
Yeah.
My dad would have been smoking in the front seat.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's the good old days.
Yeah.
So those are the good old days. Anyway, you mentioned baseball and this time of year and people getting a little liquored up by the seventh inning. And I think of the thing that happened on June 4th, 1974, between the Texas Rangers and the Cleveland Indians. And look, there are no more Cleveland Indians.
Yeah.
And there are no more 10-cent beer nights.
Well, so far nobody's been hurt as a result of Tarps off, except maybe the people who have seen things that they'll never be able to unsee by all the guys, all the shirtless guys in sections 107 and 109.
Not everyone is intended to be tarpless.
That's true. Okay, so the Mavs are moving to where Valley View Mall used to be, and the Stars are moving to where Willow Bend Mall still mostly is. The Mavs thing is a done deal. The Stars thing, I think they've filed a letter of intent, but it's not, absolutely a done deal. People are mad. Of course. Why aren't these teams staying downtown? I think you know what the reason is for the Mavs, at least part of the reason? Their lease or their agreement with the American Airlines Center is up in 2031. Yeah, they've been there decades. I mean, it's a big deal if you wanted them to stay downtown. They'll still be in Dallas, which is, there's a whole thing about, why would the Dallas Stars move to Plano? Nobody wants to go see the Plano Stars. This doesn't
Dallas
really...
Cowboys are in Arlington.
I know, but that was a big deal too.
Before that in Irving.
I know. Part of the reason that the Mavs are going to where they are, to where Valley View Mall used to be, the only viable downtown option presented to the Mavs was the land that includes City Hall.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I knew that.
They've been pushing this decision off and pushing it off and pushing it off and pushing it off. And finally, it came down to, I guess, these two opportunities. And some say that the Mavericks were leery of becoming the face of any tear down City Hall movement. They didn't, which was never their intent. And they did not want it to seem like they're the reason that if City Hall is torn down, that they would be the reason that happened. If the Mavericks had chosen a place like City Hall where there's still a building there and they decided to use that land, do you know how long it takes to get a building like that torn down and make that land ready to build?
Maybe a year.
It could be 5 years.
That's great.
It could be as many as 5 years.
Plus, you have a lot of people that don't want that torn down because that is famed architect I.M. Pei. That's sort of a thing too. Yeah. It's not just from somebody. It's an I.M. Pei designed building. So they said no to that. They're not going to do that. They're going to do it up.
Said no to that. They're going to do it where Valley View Mall used to be. That mall has been closed since 2015. For a long time, it was just a dead mall with a movie theater attached.
Is the movie theater still there?
No, that's even gone now. I did see a lot of movies at that movie theater, though. They had first run, but I mean, after the mall was closed.
Oh, really?
After the mall was dead, basically. And I think there was like I don't even know if the Dickies was there. There was one entrance where the whole mall was there.
I went to it one time,
Everything was closed with the exception of there was this one space that was now kind of an event space. You could have a family reunion or a wedding reception or something like that in it. And then there were a few fast food places, and you walked past those through the mall that was all dark and closed to get to this AMC movie theater where they had first run movies for like $6. So I took advantage of that a lot of times.
Right there in that corner is also where they have those sort of traveling circuses.
Oh yeah,
I have
years.
They still do it. I have a very disparaging description of those things. I won't probably share it here, but it's not complimentary.
No,
I would not let. There's no way. You talk about hide your kids, hide your wife. I mean, I would. There's no way I'd let drop off kids at a place like that.
No, never drop.
I mean, not safe or anything. I mean, I would want to be with them the whole time at a place like that. I'm sure they're all, probably safe, and the people they're all freshly scrubbed and nice. But I get a very weird, kind of a sketchy feeling when these traveling circuses sort of come to town and they pack up their bags and go to the next parking lot at a demolished old mall.
I think that's the least of the worries for that area where Valley View used to be. Just to know, so the mall closed in 2015. It wasn't completely torn down until 2023, and it's a crime magnet too. I think it will be wonderful for there to be something. It's also going to be a basketball specific arena, which they did not have at the American Airlines Center.
Right. Single use.
Yes. So I'm kind of excited about that. Somebody might. I mean, there might be many reasons to not do it there that I'm not aware of, but I know it was supposed to be like a midtown development for many years. We heard that it was going to be like mixed use retail, residential, business, and now it looks like for sure it will be the new home of the Dallas Mavericks.
Do we have the estimated date of any of that?
We don't have the estimated date of that, but we do know, and I don't know how easy it is to get out of something like this, but like we said before, their lease with American Airlines is not up until 2031.
Okay, well, we'll gear up for 5 years from now.
As the school year wrapped up, I started seeing a lot of different things about how many kids in American high schools are getting extra time on standardized tests, mostly college prep tests. Like
the SAT or the ACT or whatever?
Yes, extra time for the SAT or like you said, the ACT, based on things like a disability, maybe dyslexia or something like that, something that would warrant them getting a little extra time to take the test.
So for a reason, not just kids today need more time, but if someone has a situation, and what would be is it called accommodation?
A kind of accommodation.
Okay.
Yep. Well, the reason this was in the news is because the number of kids who are receiving these accommodations has surged with a concentration in wealthy areas.
Yeah, I think I know exactly where you're going. That if you get your kid on some mild part of the spectrum for this purpose, they'll get a little more time to do their test. But isn't that a horrible thing? If that's true, is that what you're saying?
Thing. Yeah. I mean, here's the thing that boggled my mind about it. I did actually go through this with one of my kids. My daughter. If I refer to her as a she, I only had one she. Diagnosed with dyslexia in second grade.
Okay.
Had a 504 filed when she started in public school, which was in fifth grade.
Okay.
So So she had that all through 5th grade, 6th grade, all through junior high, all through high school.
When you say had that, you mean had accommodation?
Had it in place.
Got
had
it.
the accommodations that come with being diagnosed dyslexic. And what that meant for her was different in every class. We would have a meeting with the teachers at the beginning of every school year, and then maybe another one in the middle of the year to see how she was doing. And we had a great experience with that. We had wonderful teachers, wonderful counselors, and language therapists inside of schools who were really careful about making sure that she got exactly what she needed, and involving us in that process, and making sure they were always talking to her and that she was advocating for herself. And it was something that was really a part of her education, like I said, from the time she was in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
And when it came time for her to take those standardized tests, even in spite of all of that, it was a beating to get her time and a half on those college entrance exams.
So if it's a 2-hour time, she would get 3 hours.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. And that's all we were looking for.
Okay.
That's what the recommendation of the people, of the people who were teachers and counselors and all of those people who were, advocating for her inside of the school. That was their recommendation. I spent hours on the phone with people at the College Board, going through test results, going from one person to another. As it turned out, we got it, I think, for the ACT, did not get it on the SAT. They never accommodated us on that, which was fine. She got what she needed.
Yeah.
We were pleased. It was hard fought, hard won. But now when I look at this and I see that oftentimes parents are spending as much as $10,000 for a diagnosis from a neuropsychologist. Some have found gastroenterologists to support requests for unlimited bathroom breaks.
Okay.
So is this really a thing that kids need, or is this just something that parents think is going to help them
get a leg up? The parents are looking for a way to give their kid an advantage. It would be like all the kids, like all the kids get a handicap sticker for their car.
Yeah,
you can't that they don't all need a handicap sticker. But Abby doesn't like to walk all the way across the.
If all of the spaces are handicapped spaces, then basically nobody has a handicapped space.
It's true.
At Scarsdale High School, just north of New York City, 1 in 5 students was eligible for extra time or another accommodation, such as get you a separate room for taking the SAT or the ACT if you need a space with fewer distractions and more quiet.
How about this? Okay, fancy parents. You want to do that to get special treatment for your kid? Okay, so you now have on record that your child has a pre-existing condition.
Maybe. I don't even know.
I'm sure what, if they're really smart, what they do, we want it to be a temporary thing.
Yeah.
So it won't impact us on our insurance or in the future.
Right.
For,
Right.
when Thor goes off to do his own thing.
Exactly. So at Scarsdale High School, I mentioned 1 in 5 kids qualified for accommodations. At Weston High School in Connecticut, 1 in 4. At Newton North High School outside of Boston, 1 in every 3 kids.
No, see, there's no. How can that be?
Yeah.
If everybody has an accommodation, it's not an accommodation.
Well,
just change it. In fact, 2 things. It's unfair to the people who need the accommodation. Because the whole point is to make it an even playing field, to test someone's ability to learn or to express or whatever those tests do. And so sometimes people need an accommodation. If the people who don't need an accommodation get an accommodation, it isn't fair to the people who needed the accommodation, but it's also not fair to the people that are doing it by the rules.
That's exactly
It's
right.
not fair to them either. Those people that say, whose parents say, we're not going to go and fake and do what they're doing. And okay, well, but if everybody jumps off the bridge, would you jump off the bridge? I mean, that's sort of the thing.
Even the Newton superintendent, David Fleischman, said, do I think that more than 30% of our students have a disability? No. He said we have a history of over-identification as learning challenged. And he said that's an issue for this particular school district. So you can get accommodations for a lot of different things. ADHD is a common reason, but also psychiatric things like anxiety, depression, obsessive compulsive disorder, and PTSD.
And overbearing parents.
Well, I don't know how you go. I just think
controlling parents.
20 years ago, this was quite the process that you went through to be diagnosed for something like this because they were really careful that they weren't overdiagnosed.
Now just sign up.
Yeah. There's this a college counselor from Marlborough, New Jersey. Her name is Marnie Levine, and she said, you don't want this for your kid. She has an adult daughter who was diagnosed with an auditory processing disorder when she was in high school. She said she got the side eye and questions from other parents all the time when her kid got accommodations for things like this. And she says, if you have an awesomely average kid, take the win.
No kidding.
Having an extra half hour on the test isn't going to get your kid into Harvard.
Average is underrated. It's kind of a weird sentence. Average is but it is, isn't it? Average is underrated.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with being average. Everybody likes to talk about their kids and she was so smart or she was so this. And my observation is, and I just had three. I had three that I monitored over the years, but it all sort of evens out. The kids that start off really, spiky good, it smooths out. The kids that are a little bit slow initially, and I'm not talking about something that would need accommodation.
Yeah.
But if it's just they're a little bit distracted or what, they'll pick up. Average is above average.
Yeah. I think a lot of this, like we even said here, it's parents who just want they're living vicariously through their kids, and somehow that where their kid what their kids score on these tests and where their kids go to school, they wear as a badge of honor as though they kind of earned it themselves. They may have contributed, but there's no separation between the kid and themselves for who actually earned the honor or the praise or the acclaim.
It's sad, but a lot of parents, it's not about being a parent. It's not about those people being their kids. It's about your accessories. Your kids are your accessories, and you compare your accessories to other people's accessories. You compare your car to somebody else's car, your neighborhood to somebody else's neighborhood, your club membership to somebody else's club membership, and your kids to other people's kids. Sadly, that's what some people do.
That's it.
All right, that's the Wilder Show podcast. Again, welcome to all the Mark Davis listeners. If you're still here, it was fun to be in for Mark today. The Wilder Show podcast drops Tuesdays and Fridays, 6 a.m. Central Time on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeart, Amazon, YouTube. Every now and then, put a little something on the TikTok. Wherever you get your podcasts, would you like, rate, follow, subscribe, share? Email is podcast@wildershow.com. We're also on Instagram. Search Wilder Show Pod. So engage wherever you find us. Comments, thumbs up, all those things. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't. Yeah, kindly.
You'll be kind.
You'll be kind.
I know you will.
We'll take it all, though. We really like the engagement. So thanks for those who are doing that. It's fun. All right. That is it for this time. And Lauren, thank you.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
the